As we see thick dark clouds over the Daeon dynasty from which red lightning bursts out. Next, red lightning bursts out of the abyss of clouds and strikes some house. The plan shifts and we already see a woman sitting in a tree watching. She says it's bloody lightning. We see a beautiful girl in oriental costume. She's clearly disturbed. Her hands are enveloped by an emerald snake. She then sends an eagle with a message informing her that a divine soul seems to have been born. In the last 10,000 years it never appeared. The soul of a 9th grade god. The eagle has arrived at some place, with mountains visible in the background, with bridges between lonely rocks each with a chapel on it. We see a sent eagle land on someone's arm. After reading the message, a man with long black hair says that the soul of a 9th grade god can consume everything. It is literally the enemy of the entire world and all souls. A red fire lit up in the man's eyes as he thought about the fact that this enemy was located in the east of the mainland in the territory of the Daeon dynasty. It was necessary to inform all the strongest masters that they must do their best to destroy it. Next, we are transported to some concrete room where we see a bound guy whose hands and body are enveloped by red energy charges. An hour before, there are 2 men standing in front of the bound guy, with 2 more guards standing behind them. The battered guy asks them why they did that to him. The older man replies to him, "It's simple because Ye Hong, the guy standing on the right, is his real son, and he's just a brat born from a call girl, set aside only to help Ye Hong raise his skills in the future." Ye Hong approaches the tied-up guy and says it's all true, and they wanted to wait until he was older before consuming his soul. But they didn't expect him to be so talented. After Ye Hong says that the bound guy not only awakened an extremely rare 9th grade human-level soul at the age of 13, and also at the age of 15 joined the largest sect within 100 miles and became a genius of geniuses. Ye Hong whispers in the tied guy's ear, thanks to his hard work for these 18 years, now he can enjoy such a delightful soul today. An evil smile formed on the bound guy's face, but a moment later he was already starting to laugh, the evil smile transforming into a mocking one. He shifted his gaze to his father, and says that when he lacked clothes and food, he bought clothes and brought food, even though the status he was given was lower than that of a maid. "Today this soul is enough to repay the life he has," the bound boy shouted to his father. The tied-up guy yells that he's disowning his name. He's not his son now. Next we see Ye Hong's face. He says that since his dear brother is so impatient, Ye Hong's hand pulls out his soul and his brother and says you can't wait. After this action, we see the soul of the bound guy shrouded in yellow energy. A fountain of blood spurted from the bound guy's mouth. He was obviously very sick. Holding the soul in his hands, he says that now the immortal alchemy soul, a golden tripod with a dragon pattern, one of the best in Qingyun City starting from today, belongs to him. The next chapter begins with us seeing the emaciated face of a tied-up guy. His father, meanwhile, only chuckles derisively, amused by what is happening. Next, we see Ye Hong fold his hands into some sort of sign and begin to absorb his brother's soul. A clot of golden soul moves into Ye Hong's abdomen. Next, Ye Hong fell to his knees. After his triumphant cry, we realize it's over. He has consumed his soul. We see the face of the bound guy. He is exhausted, streams of sweat running down his cheeks, emptiness in his eyes. Ye Hong turns to Ye Xinghe. Starting from today, he will replace him as the first genius of the clan. It will be a great waste to leave his brother in this dungeon, considering that he cannot get his soul back. Leaning closer, Ye Hong whispered that he had one more important thing to say. A few days ago, he had already spread the news that his life and soul were depleted. His fiancée was the first one who sent a condolence letter. This letter said, Yi's older brother, from ancient times being very close to each other, was very important for marriage. Today he has fallen and can never rise above her. We see this woman. For the sake of reputation, she agrees to wear the label of the one who broke up their marriage. As of this moment they are no longer engaged. This girl is a true harlot. Next, we see Ye Hong grab Ye Xinghe's head and pronounce that his life soul and his marriage are ruined. If he were in his shoes, he would have been so ashamed that he would have killed himself by biting his tongue long ago. After saying that, Ye Xinghe's eyes became bloodshot, but Ye Hong doesn't intend to stop. He also says that the younger sister of the tied guy is so beautiful and tender, he has already sent someone to fetch her. When she returns home, he will definitely take care of her. But he was not destined to finish speaking. Ye Xinghe bites Ye Hong's hand. Fresh blood spurted out from the newly formed wound. In retaliation, Ye Hong kicks the bound guy with his foot. He exclaims, "This idiot still dares to resist." Blood spurted out from Ye Hong's lips. The blow was clearly not weak. How is he still conscious? We see Ye Xinghe's hand covered in fire. He screams that he's about to kill his brother. As his hand suddenly stops in front of his face, from behind Ye Hong's back comes a plea to stop. Ye Hong looks back at who dared to stop him. This mysterious savior is Zhang Tong. But Ye Hong is not surprised, he says. It's Ye Xinghe's mongrel, a guy with a bow behind his back and a horizontal scar on his face. Ye Hong asks the guy who came here why he came here, if it's to save Ye Xinghe. But Zhang Tong replies that no, that's not what he came for at all. Ye Hong asks what he came for then. Zhang Tong bowed and said, "Senior and young master, it is out of rank for a person of Ye Hong's level to fight such an ant who has exhausted his martial arts." "Better let him deal with this lowlife himself," says Zhang Tong, pointing at the tied-up guy. Next we see Ye Hong's pensive face. It seems he didn't believe it. But no, Ye Hong bursts out laughing. He says it makes sense. Ye Hong is approached from behind by his father, puts his hand on his shoulder and tells him to just leave this garbage to other people. He has just finished cleaning the golden tripod, and he had better go back to his room and get a good night's rest today, adds his father. Before walking out, Ye Hong turns to Zhang Tong. He says, "Too bad. But he can only be allowed to play with his brother tonight." We find ourselves back in the room where the chained Ye Xinghe and Zhang Tong are sitting. As a dark blue energy suddenly formed around Ye Xinghe, Zhang Tong began to tremble because of what he saw. Ye Xinghe stares straight at his savior. He tells him that this is just fine. In response, Zhang Tong puts his finger to his mouth and makes a sound similar to shh, also adding to make the young master not to worry. Zhang Tong turns around to look at something behind him. We hear some noise outside the door. Not much time left. Folding his hands, Zhang Tong says that he still remembers the day, a year ago when he was saved. But if the young master doesn't play along, things will end up miserably. Turns out Ye Xinghe is no longer a genius. His father and brother used him for their own gain. They abandoned him. His fiancée left him. And all he has left is his little sister, says Zhang Tong. After all, these are the best conditions for becoming a great master. Ye Xinghe doesn't seem to understand what Zhang Tong is talking about at all. Zhang Tong's hand reaches for Ye Xinghe's bare chest. Something seems to be wrong. There's redness on the chained guy's face, wondering if he's about to get groped. Ye Xinghe starts screaming and asks what his ward is doing to him. Found in Zhang Tong's hand turns out to be a pendant with a multi-armed woman on it. Holding the pendant in his hand, the scar guy says, if he remembers correctly, this jade pendant is supposed to be a memory of Ye Xinghe's mother. After these actions on the captive's face formed an evil grin. His eyes also changed. He demanded in an orderly tone to return this thing to him. It was the only thing left to him from his mother. If he dared to take it, he would die. With a swift movement, Zhang Tong smashes the jade pendant against the concrete floor, with a worried Ye Xinghe in the background. We see Ye Xinghe closer. He has a look of utter disappointment on his face. There is emptiness in his eyes. He is just at a loss for words. Zhang Tong replies that it had to be done. He didn't just smash it. To reveal the relic, you have to destroy it. Next, we see red smoke coming out of the broken pendant, causing the bloody lightning to form. Here we are back where we started. Red lightning strikes the house our heroes are sitting in. There are streams of red lightning moving along the chains that restrain Ye Xinghe. Zhang Tong notices this. Zhang Tong shouts to his master to look up and points his finger at the lightning bolts. But it's too late to do anything about it. We see the lightning reaching Ye Xinghe's hands. He only had time to hover his gaze over it. As suddenly, a blood lightning energy pierced Ye Xinghe. It must be very painful. As the bound guy started screaming frantically, Zhang Tong doesn't know what to do. As Ye Xinghe suddenly falls silent, all traces of violence disappear on his face, the pain from the lightning bolt as if it never happened. Afterward, we see Ye Xinghe find himself in some previously unknown place. The new chapter of our adventure starts with seeing Ye Xinghe in some place. He is sitting on a levitating rock surrounded by 4 big statues and even bigger 4 columns. From the hero's words, we learn that this is his soul temple. We see Ye Xinghe's surprised face. He says that his life soul was stolen. So why was he able to enter the Soul Palace space? A mysterious translucent book appears in front of Ye Xinghe. What could it mean? Ye Xinghe is also surprised. He doesn't understand. If this is his soul space, what is this book doing here? He reaches out his hand towards it. After Ye Xinghe touched the book, it glowed with a golden light. Its pages began to turn rapidly. We see a strong wind current flinging back Ye Xinghe's hair and robes. It seems our proto has begun to awaken a new soul. Ye Xinghe is very surprised. Nothing can come out of his mouth. Next, golden symbols began to appear on the columns, a mysterious voice saying that his new soul is the best in the world. We can see that Ye Xinghe is very excited. He can't believe what is happening. But not everything is so simple. New characters appear on the pages of the book, foretelling something bad. The former joy was gone, so what happened? Ye Xinghe was once again at a loss for words. Ye Hong throws the book on the floor and screams that his new soul is just a first human-level soul, not even close to the best in the world. As suddenly, a woman's affectionate voice comes out of the book. It says that Ye Xinghe has nothing to worry about. At this time, he is standing with his back to the book. Ye Xinghe turns around to see who is saying this to him. Suddenly, a very beautiful white-haired girl appears from the book and says that you shouldn't look down on her just because she's level 1, because in the future she can be developed. This girl moves closer to Ye Xinghe and languidly utters, "Developing a soul isn't that hard. You just need to gather yang and nurture yin." After that, a sword appears in Ye Xinghe's hand. What happens next? Ye Xinghe brings the sword to the throat of the girl who appeared. She is clearly surprised because of what is happening. Why is he showing aggression? The girl who appears asks what Ye Xinghe is doing. It seems that what happened an hour earlier has not positively affected our protagonist's confidence. In response to the girl's question, Ye Xinghe replies that he has never heard that the soul can evolve, and never heard that there are spirits guarding the soul. He will not be tempted. A look of embarrassment appeared on the goddess's face, and she bit her lip playfully. We see the girl pass through Ye Xinghe's hand again, coming closer to his face, and tells him that she is starting to like him more and more. After losing everything and hitting rock bottom, his heart is still as strong as usual. He is very careful in his decision-making and not falling for greed. Placing her hands on Ye Xinghe's shoulders, she added, "He is indeed worthy of being chosen as the #1 life soul in the world." Redness proto appears on his face. Finally, the mysterious girl says it's about time. His friends have already brought all the right medicines. We need to use them, and he will start to realize the power our proto has gained. We see the goddess throw Ye Xinghe down. In the aftermath, Ye Xinghe only managed to ask her name, but he never received a reply. We return to the dungeon again, and see Zhang Tong sobbing beside the bound Ye Xinghe and telling him that he's finally back. We further learn from their conversation that Ye Xinghe has been in a coma all night. Everyone was so worried he wouldn't wake up. Ye Hong has managed to cleanse his soul. He is supposed to come today to mess around. There is someone third lurking near our acquaintances. Ye Xinghe shifts his gaze to this person. We see a middle-aged man, all scarred with a short haircut. A smile appears on Ye Xinghe's face. He says it's Uncle Yao and asks how he got here. After saying that, Uncle Yao silently stuck his hand under his kimono, wondering what he had hidden there. A moment later, took out something round-shaped emitting yellow light. Ye Xinghe says with surprise that it is a divine sun pill. Afterward, Zhang Tong gets down on one knee. He says that this is the most precious treasure of the Samyi Yi in Qingyun City. Divine sun pill. Whoever takes it will not only break through his cultivation 3 levels in a row, but will also heal his old wounds at the same time. Last night, Uncle Yao broke into the secret treasure room with heavy traps, killing 6 generals and injuring many. He finally obtained the treasure for Ye Xinghe. Tears protruded in Ye Xinghe's eyes. As suddenly the doors to the dungeon slam open, the room is filled with warriors with katanas. Somewhere in the distance we hear Ye Hong's voice. He is very angry because Uncle Yao stole the treasure. Ye Hong walks into the room and says that Zhang Tong was on our proto's side, but it's okay since he gave up good for evil and is loyal to Ye Xinghe. Ye Hong will personally show him what hell is like. We see Ye Hong's aggressive face. He adds to the above that he will give everyone a quick death, and gives orders to his warriors to kill everyone. Immediately afterward, Uncle Yao rose to his feet and spread his hands apart, stopping the attackers. A blue shield appears around him, which will keep opponents away for a long time. At the same time, Zhang Tong gives the divine sun pill to Ye Xinghe. Ye Xinghe bites and swallows the pill. He asks Uncle to hold out a little longer. Closing his eyes, Ye Xinghe mentally addresses the goddess from the book. He asks her, didn't she say that he would see a new power after using the pill? Our proto has already started to take effect. But then why doesn't he feel anything? Immediately after those words, something in his body twitched. We hear the voice of the goddess again. She says that she is already here. Further, Ye Xinghe's body began to recover. The body hardening level breakthrough has begun. The strength of 1,000 jin is available. Ye Xinghe enveloped his body. A little goddess appeared on his shoulder, saying that the pill that ordinary martial artists can only purify after a month, our proto's new soul, purified in the blink of an eye. Ye Xinghe replies that he is now a little more convinced that this vital soul is the #1 in the world. With one move, Ye Xinghe broke the chains. How strong he was now. Standing up to his full height, Ye Xinghe says that now he wants to get rid of these crazy people who are hurting his loved ones. Zhang Tong and the goddess are overjoyed. In the next instant, Ye Xinghe with one punch knocked out the fighter. Everyone turned to look at it. The new chapter begins as we see Ye Xinghe shrouded in red flames. He turns to Zhang Tong and tells him to take care of Uncle Yao. After saying this, Zhang Tong took Uncle Yao under his arm and replied that he would not move a single step away from him. At the same time, one of the guards crept up behind Ye Xinghe, swung his sword, saying in passing that Ye Xinghe didn't have time to worry about others. But no, Ye Xinghe is already on another level. We see him turn his gaze to the striker. We see Ye Xinghe grabbing the offender by the face. With one slight movement, Ye Xinghe tossed the warrior aside, disarming him. We see the sword fly upwards. Ye Xinghe deftly picked up the sword and swiftly headed towards its former owner. Fearfully looking his opponent in the eyes, Ye Xinghe tells him how dare he hurt his loved ones. Next, we see Ye Xinghe making one horizontal strike to throw off 4 opponents, saying that they are all waiting for death. After the blow, one of the warriors broke through the concrete wall with his body. How strong the blow was. Surprisingly, the warrior is still in one piece, although he is very hurt. He cannot believe how he got his soul back and how he got such power. Suddenly, we hear someone else come into the dungeon. He says that it is Ye Xinghe's power that is the merit of the divine sun pill. Next, we get a closer look at the people who have come. It's the elder and Ye Xinghe's father, who says they are a little late. Pointing at Ye Xinghe, His father says that he is the one who absorbed the family treasure. Hong goes on to tell the elder that he is going to enforce the law for him, and that he will break Ye Xinghei's arms and legs, in the aftermath mutilating him so that he can no longer have children. The elder's face, judgmentally creased, he looked at Ye Hong with a threatening look. After saying this, Ye Hong became very tense. A cold sweat popped out on his forehead. He looked questioningly at his father and asked what he should do. The elder takes a couple steps and points his finger at Uncle Yao, and says that he is the one who stole the treasure of the Yi family. After saying these words, Uncle Yao wondered if the elder was not punishing young master Ye Xinghei. Perhaps by killing his uncle, he wanted to make the punishment more lenient. Taking up his sword, Uncle Yao is about to commit suicide by cutting himself. Zhang Tong tries to stop him. Suddenly, we see someone knock the sword out of Uncle Yao's hands. We see that it was Ye Xinghei. Everyone looks at each other. Standing between his friends and enemies, Ye Xinghei wants to remind them that there are rules in the clan. If someone becomes the next head of their family, you can unconditionally release one of your clan members. The elder replies to him that this is correct. As the eldest son in the family, Ye Hong is the successor. Does Ye Xinghei want to fight him? We see Ye Hong's surprised face. He clearly didn't expect this. A moment later, he started laughing. Through his laughter, he says that if the Divine Sun Pill helped him raise his cultivation to body hardening in the blink of an eye, and could help deal with those pathetic soldiers from their clan, but does he really want to fight with his brother? Only at the level of body hardening with a shout, Ye Hong finishes Ye Hong. We see Ye Xinghei only picking up his Uncle Yao under his shoulder, thus helping him stand up. Standing up on his feet and raising his fist, Ye Xinghei turns to Ye Hong and asks if he dares to fight him in a month's time. All the fighters present started laughing, they say. How could such trash like Ye Xinghei challenge a master, even if our proto? Genius. It would take him at least 5 years to break through from the first realm to the 8th realm. After their words, Ye Xinghei only glanced at them fearfully. They were immediately racked with goosebumps. Next, Ye Xinghei started to move forward and told Uncle Yao to go with him. When they passed Ye Hong, he only smugly grinned. Ye Hong says, since his little brother wants to embarrass himself in front of the whole family, how can he not give that opportunity? In a month, he is going to kill Ye Xinghei with his own hands. We see the three of them leave the room, while Ye Hong ponders who is the real genius of the two brothers. The next day, we are transported to a wooded area with mountains coloring the background. Everything seems peaceful and calm. Nothing can disturb this peace. But no, we suddenly hear and see Zhang Tong being chased by a huge rhino, the guy with the scar begging for help. Watching all this from the branch of a tall tree is Ye Xinghei. He is not going to help him at all. A frightened Zhang Tong shouts to our proto that he has lured the blue-horned bull into the forest, and for the young master to kill it quickly. We see Ye Xinghei stand up in a fighting stance and bare his sword. Just a moment more, and the blue horn would overtake Zhang Tong's body. He begged for salvation. With a swift movement, Ye Xinghei jumped down from the tree branch directly onto the rhino's back, stabbing his sword into the beast's back, fresh red blood flowing from the resulting wound. Rising up on its hind legs, the poor animal squealed in pain. It seemed to be a very serious wound. Afterward, we see Zhang Tong's face. He is very surprised how Ye Xinghei took down such a huge beast with one punch. A huge rhino has fallen without signs of life. Ye Xinghei is standing on its corpse. The next chapter of our adventure starts with Ye Xinghei putting the katana into its scabbard. Ye Xinghei began to thank Zhang Tong for his work. His current skills are not enough to fight a ferocious high-level monster. If not for this, Ye Xinghei would not have put his friend in danger. Zhang Tong, who was lying on the ground, began to justify that there was no need to thank him, compared to our proto. His deeds were insignificant. Ye Xinghei tried to reply something to Zhang Tong, but there was no stopping his babbling. Zhang Tong continues. He says to young master, hurry up and gather the core. Maybe the new spirit of the heavenly scripture will absorb the power of the elixir and the monster core and make our proto even stronger. Ye Xinghei began to absorb the blue rhinoceros core. It was much better than the ferocious beasts they had killed earlier. The young master would be able to increase his strength. We see Ye Xinghei start collecting the soul of heavenly life, with young Zhang Tong watching. After the process, a blob of blue energy of a huge rhinoceros appeared in Ye Xinghei's hand. Breaking in a new core by hand, it's much cleaner, tier 1 cores. Ye Xinghei shrouds the fire. Once the beast core is refined, the power bursts out immediately. So Ye Xinghei offers to recognize its power. He heads towards a huge boulder. With one blow, he shatters it. What power? Shards of stone flew into Ye Xinghei's face. He covered his eyes for protection. Strength 3,500 Jin. Zhang Tong says it was incredible. Shards of rock still falling. As suddenly, someone unknown says, all Ye Xinghei did was break the damaged stone. Is it really that surprising? Our proto turns around to see who it is. It was two previously unknown guys. They say Ye Xinghei, the famous genius of the Lingyun clan. How could such an insignificant thing make him happy? The second guy replies that the soul and body of our proto has been destroyed. He is no longer the same as before. The guy with red hair is surprised, so Ye Xinghei is just an invalid now. Zhang Tong grabs the red-haired guy by the pecs and says, "Who is he to say such a thing? He is trash after all, and his family is full of scum." In response, however, the red-haired man only laughed. He pushed Zhang Tong away. A conflict seemed to be brewing. The red-haired guy started some sort of summoning in the sky. A magical sign with a phoenix inside appeared. From this sign, an orange-red eagle appeared. Seemingly it was summoning magic. The red-haired guy says they're all no match for him. He then asks if Zhang Tong has any desire to fight after summoning a level 4 spirit. With a quick movement, Zhang Tong hid behind Yexinghe's back. He seemed to be a little scared, but our proto, unperturbed. Zhang Tong turns to Yexinghe and says that the guys who came are really mean. In response, Yexinghe only slapped his hand on his face. He did not expect this at all. The two guys who came in started laughing. They thought Zhang Tong was a fierce warrior who was willing to stand up for his master's honor. It turned out he was a loser who hides behind trash. Yexinghe started to be covered in fire. He covered Zhang Tong with his hand. It looks like a scuffle is starting. Yexinghe is very angry. He asks what is wrong with Gao Hu. When is it? He gave the right to insult his people. We see Gao Hu again. He continues to taunt our heroes and offers to beat him up if he can. But he was not allowed to finish speaking. Yexinghe swiftly approached Gao Hu and punched him right in the face. Gao Hu went flying, spinning around his axis. There was no need to show off. Landing a few meters away, Gao Hu wondered if our proto soul wasn't exhausted. How could he be so strong? After that, Zhang Tong became cheerful and is already mockingly asking Gao Hu how he can be beaten. We see how damaged Gao Hu is. He's even missing a tooth. Gao Hu shouts to the eagle to peck all those soulless bastards to death. He really hopes that he can do it. But our proto is unfazed. He replies that he will not be intimidated by a level 4 spirit. Yexinghe's hand is concentrating energy. At the same time, the eagle is preparing to pounce on our proto. We see the fire whips heading towards the eagle. Yexinghe says this is an example of a really powerful spirit. The eagle let out a furious cry. The fiery whips have already engulfed the eagle's paws. Yexinghe says that the process of devouring the first fragrant soul has been successfully completed. Afterward, we see that the eagle is already completely enveloped in fire. Next, the eagle's body is completely absorbed by Yexinghe. The eagle's life energy was absorbed by Yexinghe, 1,900 Jin. Gao Hu is completely frustrated. He can't understand how it happened, how our proto absorbed his spirit. The other guy also shares the misunderstanding. After saying that, Gao Hu collapsed without strength. The poor guy had suffered a lot. Zhang Tong immediately decided to scoff. He mockingly says, "This is what happens to those who provoke his young master." Yexinghe just turns around and walks away. Next, Yexinghe tells Zhang Tong to help him find a secluded place. It seems something has happened to his inner Dao, our proto. Needs to meditate for a while. Zhang Tong replies that he will sort it out. After a while, Zhang Tong says that he found a cave where our proto can relax and fully concentrate on cultivation. We see Yexinghe sit down in lotus pose and begin to meditate, at which time Zhang Tong stood up to defend his master. Yexinghe finds himself in the world of his temple, but something has changed in his inner Dao. Our proto has a very surprised look on his face. The plan shifts and we see a huge tower shrouded in chains and golden dragons. Yexinghe doesn't understand why a giant pagoda has appeared in his inner Dao. We find ourselves back at Yexinghe's soul temple, and we see him moving forward, right to the entrance of the tower. With deft movements, our proto runs through a huge chain that extends upwards. Next, we see Yexinghe land on one knee after a strong jump perfectly easily. Rising to his feet, our proto raised his gaze upward to appreciate the full magnitude of the structure. After we see the new tower up close, suddenly the bell rings. Yexinghe offers to enter. As suddenly, near our proto's ear, a petite goddess appears and starts whispering something in Yexinghe's ear. It immediately turned pink with embarrassment. "This is the Tower of the Gods, sitting on the book," said the blonde with a smile. Yexinghe embarrassedly covers her face. Yexinghe didn't like this. He bared his sword and threateningly asked him to stop appearing out of nowhere. In response, the petite goddess said with embarrassment, "Aren't all noble and rich men presenting their swords to women?" Yexinghe stows his sword in its scabbard. Standing with his back to the girl, he told her to stop making him uncomfortable and tell him exactly where the Tower of the Gods was located. After flying closer to the tower, the petite goddess explained to us that the Tower of the Gods was guarded by a sacred book of souls. He would be able to reach it by absorbing the first pill. Being inside the tower would help our proto reach the peak of martial arts, and besides, there were many medicines there. But mysteriously, the girl stopped. Whether that's true or not, he can get them by relying on his skills and bravery. Yexinghe looks at the girl questioningly and asks what she means. But it's too late to ask something in an instant, and the girl has already disappeared. Yexinghe tries to stop her, asking what she wanted to say. Near the tower, a strong wind started to blow. Yexinghe doesn't understand what's going on. Clenching his fist, Yexinghe reflects on the fact that his father and brother have taken his spirit. But he can still increase his strength and protect what he holds dear. Raising a hand forward, our proto opens the entrance to a huge tower. We see that some kind of energy lurks behind the door. At the same time, Yexinghe says that the worst of his life has already happened. He has nothing to fear anymore. Next we see Yahello begin to enter the tower with a slow step. At the same moment, the torches light up with blue flames. Walking a little further, our proto sees a skeleton sitting on a throne. It looks like a massacre is about to begin. The plan changes, and closer we see a sitting skeleton with blue fire in his eyes. The inscription on his throne says that this is the necropolis of the dragon and elephant. After reading the inscription, Yahello states that this treasure of the former must be the dragon and tiger technique he used before died. Suddenly we hear some noise. Our proto turns around to see what's wrong. Suddenly, from underground, a certain long creature bursts out, throwing Yahello aside. After Yahello's strike with a slip, he lands with his sword already drawn. A huge blue snake appears before our eyes. How can we defeat such a monster? Yahello says it's a level 4 monster, a royal python. Next, the blue monster bares its fangs. It prepares to attack. The new chapter begins as we see the battle continue. Yahello says that this huge snake weighs over 10 tons and has a deadly poison, while our proto can only lift 2 tons. We see Yahello and the royal python preparing to attack, who will remain the winner in this fight. Next, our proto makes a leap to meet the attack of a huge snake and says that this beast seems to be quite dangerous. Yahello was already quite close to the mouth of the royal python. Just a moment more and it would swallow him. Our proto is about to put his life on the line. Moments later, we see the snake swallow our proto. That's the end of our story. It was fun. Yahello's body advances through the digestive system of the royal python. Suddenly, by the expression on the snake's face, we realize that something is wrong. There is clearly a threat looming for it. Next, we see a little below the snake's snout started to protrude something. It looks like Yahello is still alive. A second later, the bulge began to bulge even more. Just a little more and the skin would burst through. And in the aftermath, our proto bursts out of the body of the royal python. A huge wound appears on the monster's body. It is surely fatal. We see Yahello's joyful face. He seems pleased that he was able to defeat such a beast. Upon landing on the ground, our proto concludes that it turns out that to defeat a snake like this, all you have to do is make an incision below the neck. The royal python fell to the ground without vitality. Such a terrifying beast was defeated in a matter of seconds. We see as Yahello puts his katana into its scabbard. He says that not only did he kill the royal python, but he also got the core of a rank 4 monster. In the hand of our proto is an emerald-colored royal python energy blob. Yahello begins the process of gathering energy waves of yellow energy form around him. The strength of our proto reached 7 tons. There was a breakthrough through 3 levels. His hand was covered in fire again. A beam of fire energy burst out from Yahello's hand and pierced through the concrete wall as if it were made of straw. Yahello reflected on the fact that although he had regained some of his former power, but at this rate, it would take more than a month to fully recover. As suddenly something behind happens, Yahello turns around to look. Behind our proto turns out to be an even bigger Fire King python. A look of horror formed on Yahello's face, droplets of sweat protruding. Our proto says the soul of a royal python appeared before him. Taking the sword out of its sheath, our proto adds that high-level monsters have a chance to create a monster soul whose power is 10 times the normal one. Behind Yahello's back appeared previously known to us. Fairy Blonde Fairy asks if he was scared, but not worth it because now she will deal with everything. After taking flight, she also says that after a long battle, he was very lucky to meet a monster soul. Thanks to him, they can easily level up. The goddess goes to the spirit that appeared. Yahello only looks questioningly at what's going on. Level up. What does that mean? Once again, we see the little goddess begin to recite a spell. She uses the celestial book from which she appeared. We see the spirit of the dead royal python enveloped by golden rays emanating from the book. The energy is so powerful that even Yahello covers his face to protect himself. Yahello hears the two's words and takes his hands away to look. We see a smile on the little goddess's face. She says it was a success. A joyful Yahello asks if his soul has reached the 2nd level. He further asks the little goddess, it seems as long as he finds her spirits, his spiritual and physical strength will grow. Flying closer to our proto, Fairy answers him that it is exactly as he said. Souls are an important catalyst. However, only high-level or special monsters, but the young master will also have to practice attacks. Yahello responds by saying that she doesn't need to tell him about such trivial things, and asks where the treasure she was talking about is. The little goddess gets a little flustered and tells her master not to worry, for she hasn't lied to him. The treasure is right behind her back. The fairy decided to leave Yahello alone with the ancient martial arts book, our proto. Humbly folded his hands and closed his eyes. Yahello says thanking the skeleton lord for guarding the book, the young fighters will train harder, praising his name. We see that in front of the skeleton lies a book. Yahello's hand reaches for the book that has Dragon Elephant written on it. This is the promised treasure. Our proto opens the book and says the book is called the Dragon Elephant, and it is divided into 3 parts. In the first part of the book, cultivators learn the power of becoming as powerful as a mammoth. The second part reveals the wisdom of the sea dragon, comprehends its mind and appearance. and the final part combines the two previous parts. Ye Xinghe is very surprised. A strength of 10 tons in the first stage, just like a rank 9 cultivator, wow. So our proto, just need to get through the first part in a month, just a month. Ye Xinghe's eyes lit up with interest. He believes that now he has a chance if everything goes well. After studying, our proto had risen to the next stage of cultivation and was ready to enter the next level, somewhere deep outside of the city. Ye Xinghe and Zhang Tong were walking in a sprawl. Our two friends have reached some abandoned house. Zhang Tong turns to his master, namely tells him that this is Lin Xi's house. After breaking the engagement, she was thrown out of the city, and her uncle sent her to this cottage. We can see Ye Xinghe is speechless. After a time, our proto spoke, and from his words we learned that formerly, he considered this place his home. We see a flashback from 5 years ago, little Ye Xinghe gnawing on raw potatoes in the rain, what a pity. Since his childhood, his father and brother neglected our proto. He was always hungry and homeless. We see the child sitting on the threshold of some temple. As someone suddenly approached little Ye Xinghe, he raised his head to look at the newcomers. Behind Ye Xinghe was a tall man with an umbrella behind whom hid a little girl looking like our proto's future bride. That man was Su Jiangye. He was the first one who treated Ye Xinghe with kindness. He not only allowed our proto and his sister Lin Xi to live in his house, but also offered him to marry his daughter, Su Qianshui. We see the acquaintance of our newlyweds. However, after the fall, she was the first to dump Ye Xinghe. After reading the letter sent by Ye Hong, she broke off the engagement. But it only proved that she loved not our proto, but his glory of genius. We return to the present tense. Zhang Tong slaps his friend on the back and says Ye Xinghe is too young to be sad. People spend their lives idle and without suffering are immature. The young master should not socialize with them. Ye Xinghe didn't like this at all. He glares angrily at his friend. Zhang Tong is so damn brave today, he even dared to stroke our proto on the head. Ye Xinghe's ward runs away in fear. He calls Sisi for help because her older brother wants to beat up his friend. We see Zhang Tong running away and Ye Xinghe starts to catch up with him, yelling for the fleeing man to stop. Just as suddenly, someone stops our couple, ordering them to stop fighting. The new chapter starts with Ye Xinghe realizing that he hears his little sister's voice. Someone is doing something nasty to her. It seems these people are looking for death. We see in an old house, some group of people beating up Uncle Yao and Ye Xinghe's little sister, crying and begging the fighters to stop. A mayhem is seen in the house. One of the attackers leans over and tells the little girl that if she wants them to stop hitting him, she needs to do as she is told. The little girl looks at the beaten Uncle Yao, her little eyes filling with tears again. But Uncle Yao began to be beaten with his feet again, his face showing that he was in a lot of pain. More tears begin to flow down Lin Xi's cheek. She asks to stop beating her uncle and starts to strip what the bastards are up to and where is her older brother. As suddenly Ye Xinghe bursts into the room, he yells that his little sister doesn't need to undress. Everyone looks at the bursting guy. Lin Xi starts yelling to his brother to stop the attackers. They want to beat Uncle Yao to death. The body of our proto began to burn as soon as they dared to attack his family. Now they'll be in trouble. Ye Xinghe punches one of the fighters right in the face. The punch was so hard it sent him flying. As he landed, the fighter broke through the wall with himself. He was in a lot of pain and didn't need to behave badly. The other fighters are shocked at the strength of our proto. They don't understand. Weren't his Dantians destroyed? How could he become so strong? Ye Xinghe doesn't understand how they recognized him. In response, the warriors in white and green uniforms say that our proto ate and slept in their house for 5 years. How were they supposed to forget his face? They came here to take payment, and how dare he hit one of them? With a slight smirk, Ye Xinghe clarifies if they came for the money. One of the warriors tells the head of House E that Ye Xinghe is destroyed, so they came here to take his sister and sell her. The beaten warrior asks how Ye Xinghe dared to kill him. Zhang Tong and Lin Xi look back at him questioningly. The warrior goes on to say, "Isn't it shameful for our proto to insult the family that cared for him? What a fool." This family and Ye Xinghe's gaslighting aggression, it seems to be a sore subject for our proto. He turns to the lying warrior. Why should he be ashamed of that? Aren't they a family of pathetic scum for always bullying the weak? The beaten guy has no words left to object. He can only make some pathetic noises. Ye Xinghe presses the shoulder of the guy sitting near the wall and says he won't kill him because our proto wants to pass something on to their head. Our proto draws his sword from its holster and bends over to the warrior, quietly telling him to go back and tell him the debt he took was appropriate when our proto was young and foolish. Now he has realized his mistakes, but if they dare to hurt his family, our proto bends even closer and makes a cut on the guy's face and continues, "If one comes, Ye Xinghe will kill him. If two come, he'll kill them too." The seated warrior began bowing like a madman, saying he would pass on the message as soon as possible. Ye Xinghe is ordering everyone to scram. In a flash, all the offending men were out the door, the former courage gone and how much of a farce it had been. We see Zhang Tong trying to help Uncle Yao. Ye Xinghe orders him to put his uncle on the bed and give him medicine. A small hand tugged Ye Xinghe's kimono to attract attention. Ye Xinghe looks down at the little girl. Lin Shi stretches her arms up and asks her big brother to hug her. There is redness protruding on our proto's face. He's a little embarrassed. How cute. Next, our proto lightly lifts his little sister in his arms. They begin to laugh happily. It seems they have not seen each other for a long time. Lin Shi asks if he is not heavy. Afterward, big brother pulls his sister close to him and tells her that he will never leave her in trouble again. Lin Shi replies that she is not angry, because as long as her brother is here, she will never be scared again. But suddenly, the little girl's condition worsened. She can't even speak. Lin Shi fainted right in her brother's arms. She seemed to be sick. After that, Yexinghe seemed as if he realized something. A look of consternation could be seen in his eyes. The little girl's temperature plummeted. Yexinghe puts her hand on her sister's cheek. Turns out Lin Shi has the ice disease, but for some reason it came back. Didn't the medication help her? The new chapter begins as Yexinghe discovers the medicine has been tainted by the Su family's wars. From anger, our proto body is covered in red flames. Zhang Tong and Uncle Yao are watching this. They are very worried. The color of the flame changes from red to blue behind Yexinghe's back. The face of a demon appears. He promises to make Su Jianye pay the bill. In the blink of an eye, a little girl disappears from the hands of our proto. We see Zhang Tong snatching Lin Shi. He tells his young master not to go crazy and scare the child. A surprised Yexinghe is standing in the background. After Zhang Tong put the little girl to bed, he said one simple thing. Every protagonist has a sister who has ice disease, which is a side effect of not being the chosen ones. The protagonist, the chosen one's side effect seems to be Yexinghe can't realize the breaking of the fourth wall. Zhang Tong continues. He asks the young gentleman to remain calm. If one follows the logic, one should visit the pharmacist. Yexinghe replies that he is right. For starters, we need to find some spiritual flame herb for his little sister, our proto. Found quite a few rare materials during the battle with the royal python. Perhaps it will be enough for a deal with the pharmacist. Then our proto runs out into the street saying that Zhang Tong take care of his little sister and Uncle Yao. He will try to return as soon as possible. We see our proto going somewhere. We find ourselves in the city of Qingyang. Our proto finds himself in front of an apothecary. He says this is the biggest apothecary that the Herb King established in Danyang. Rumor has it that the most talented alchemists are here, so perhaps they would accept such a rare material obtained from the royal python. Upon entering the pharmacy, Yexinghe is greeted by an employee and asked what the young gentleman is looking for, medicine or improvement pills. As the young worker suddenly recognizes our proto, he looks at him in surprise. After a short pause, the worker continues, "Is it really young Mr. Xinghe of the E family?" The guy with the bandage apologizes for his manners and for his stupidity. Nowadays, however, our proto is too poor and not even a warrior, so that he has no right to enter the enterprise of the King of Herbs. The apothecary's employees have blocked the entrance with their bodies. Next, the guys started blatantly bullying and calling Yexinghe names. They tell screw him and don't interfere with their business. A caustic smile forms on Yexinghe's face again. These guys look down on people. Yexinghe pulls out a certain flower from his pocket and says that he will just go to another store to sell this rare material. Everyone around him is shocked to say the least. The red-haired guy behind the counter is the most surprised of all, his thoughts spinning with the words color, smell, golden veins. Just a second later, the red-haired guy was already on one knee in front of Yexinghe. It turns out to be an incredibly rare fourth-level spiritual flower, the Black Jade Lotus. The red-haired guy glares angrily at his subordinate. Yexinghe at the same time smugly gloats with his nose turned up. At the same moment, a guy from behind the counter delivers a savory punch to the face of one of his employees. While beating up his subordinate, he reprimanded him and asked him how they treated the honorable guests. How dare he stop their VIP client and mumble something about interfering with business. How quickly the redhead changed his shoes. After the beating, the red-haired guy turns to our proto. He asks to forgive his subordinate for his rudeness. He hopes that the young gentleman still wants to sell the flower to them. Yexinghe quotes a price of 5,000 silver. The red-haired salesman agrees with our proto. It seems after their past failure now, he will agree to anything. The salesman asks the young gentleman to enter the room to wait while they prepare the silver. We end up at the Yao Wang Pavilion where Yexinghe is waiting to be paid, sitting at a table. The waitress has served him tea. Sipping tea, our proto reasoned that 5,000 silver would be enough for 10 specimens of flame herb and 10 spines. Enough for 3 months. Just as suddenly, someone comes into the pharmacy and greets Yexinghe. Anger arises on our proto. His face, he seems to recognize that voice. 3 previously familiar faces appear before Yexinghe. A former fiancé, her father, and her younger brother. Yexinghe asks the head of the family what this means, if they came for money. Younger brother, without letting him finish, immediately asks if Yexinghe is not ashamed of her behavior. If it wasn't for the pharmacy salesman, they wouldn't even know that his master's treasure was stolen and eaten by our proto. The fat kid points at Yexinghe. Crouched in a cool pose, our proto only questioned if they were sure if he had stolen his medicine. Here, the red-haired salesman had already entered the conversation. Exactly. This treasure was made of demonic lotus that could only be found in places where strong monsters lived. The cultivation level would never be enough to kill even a single monster. The fat kid picks up on it. He says that this lotus flower his master plucked from the monster's clutches. Ye Xinghei's former fiancé supports the accusations. Even father is standing up to our proto. He says he never thought the young man they've raised for so many years would turn out to be so conniving in here. But suddenly something rattled the infernal family. But everything becomes clear as soon as we see Ye Xinghei. He seems to be enjoying the process while picking his teeth with a toothpick. And why are you silent? Our proto started picking his nose out of boredom. He asks Mr. Nina to pour him some tea because his ears are already withered. The father of the family started yelling at Ye Xinghei as he is not paying attention to him. In response to this, our simply asked him to stop playing the role of a gentleman. It feels like our proto attended a wonderful play. Maybe they should all become actors. Ye Xinghei suggests putting everything on display. Ye Xinghei then takes a sip of tea and turns to the red-haired guy. He asks why he brought the entire Su family here. What? For the sake of some flour and 5,000 silver? How petty. In response, Mr. Ning was offended. He disgustedly asks our proto, "Stop insulting people left and right. With Ye Xinghei's cultivation level, it is unrealistic to defeat the monster guard. He must have stolen it." Rising to his feet, Ye Xinghei summarized that after his words, he was convinced that he was on Su Yan's side. If our proto can defeat Su Yan, then it will confirm his skills. Ye Xinghei points at the infernal family with his hand. In response, the fat younger brother started laughing furiously. Su Yan says that if our proto can defeat him, the lotus will be his. Su Yan's father also doesn't believe Ye Xinghei can defeat his son. But our proto was not used to waiting a second later. He had already delivered a blow to the face of the puffin. After the blow is thrown, Ye Xinghei says he will beat anyone who deserves it, and Su Yang carries too much extra. How noble. Su Yan's father and sister are in complete shock. Next, the father and son simultaneously ask in an agitated tone how dare he use the hand he is picking his nose with to fight. Su Yan sits on the floor holding his nose. Ye Xinghei uncrosses his arms and says he can add one more time. After saying these words, a fire lit up in Su Yan's eyes. He was very angry. Next, the fat kid's entire body was covered in fire, the concrete floor beneath him beginning to break through. We see Su Yan in a fighting stance, about to strike the fire tiger, shouting at our proto to stop acting so arrogant because he is no longer a genius. When the fat kid's fist almost reached our proto, Ye Xinghei simply grabbed it with his hand, dispelling all the energy. Su Yan's face was filled with utter bewilderment. How come Ye Xinghei wasn't hurt at all? In response to this strike, Ye Xinghei only laughed and asked, "This is all the strength of the Su family's heir. A cat power strike. No offense, Su Yan, it looks like our proto is up to something, and we shouldn't have started all this." Ye Xinghei kicks the fat kid's stomach. His face immediately changes, however he died from it. Finishing the punch, our proto adds that even now he is a genius. Su Yan will not reach his heights. Blood spurted from the puffball's nose. As he pressed himself into the wall, he even slammed into it. He was immediately approached by his worried older sister and father, who was surprised that his son was at the 4th level of cultivation. But even he was no threat to our proto. Next, we see the concerned face of the red-haired salesman. Ye Xinghei's hand lies on Mr. Ning's shoulder. Maximizing the seller, he told him that the matter was now settled, and he should give him his money. The red-haired salesman obligingly brought 5,000 silver bills. Ye Xinghei roughly snatched the money from the redhead's hands. Well, fair enough. After our proto counted the money, the red-haired salesman asked for the demonic lotus to be provided. Ye Xinghei pondered over something. The conflict seemed to be continuing. With one deft move, Ye Xinghei scattered the money around the room. Afterward, he said that he wouldn't sell them the demonic lotus. Mr. Ning used to be kind to our proto and his sister, but today he insulted and accused him of stealing. Now he owes him nothing more. Leaving Ye Xinghei said in the aftermath, they are now enemies. Mr. Ning looked at the back of the departing Ye Xinghei. He was completely bewildered by what was happening. His daughter immediately ran up to him and tried to calm him down. She said that Ye Xinghei's soul had been abandoned but was still incredibly strong. She was afraid that he and she couldn't cope. There was no chance of victory. She kept looking at her father and saying that their actions lately were probably not right at all. Weren't they? Mr. Ning could only remain silent to this question. He had nothing to say. But the girl kept asking the same question, whether they were doing the right thing or not. This made Mr. Ning very angry. He made a scary face and said that Ye Xinghei had no chance of surviving. Then he sent his daughter somewhere. The picture then moves to the house where Zhang Tong was very happy that the young master had actually brought back so many treasures. Not only is there the spiritual flame herb that heals Jir, but there are also so many high-level beast nuclei. Ye Xinghei was treating Xier, and Zhang Tong was looking at the animal cores. The only thing the guy didn't like was their low purity. And our main character fed the girl, and replied that the old man was willing to exchange more than 30 variegated beast cores and 10 pillars of spiritual flame grass with him, which was already very good. Ye Xinghei also mentioned that his black jade demonic lotus was only worth 5,000 silver coins, But what the old man gave him, it was already worth more than 10,000. Zhang Tong sat on the chair and couldn't believe such sums. He asked Ye Xinghe why the old man was so kind to him. Ye Xinghe blew on the spoon to cool down the contents and feed the girl. He then replied that it was probably because the old man just wanted to have a good relationship. And he decided to tell the story of how they met the old man. It all started when our protagonist came out of the pavilion and met an old man with gray hair and a white beard. The old man introduced himself to him saying that he was Wei Danyun from Qingyang Yaochai province. He added that he was willing to accept the black jade demonic lotus in the hands of a young master with 10,000 silver coins. Our hero asked the gray-haired old man, "Is he by any chance from the alchemist clan?" The old man explained that since Ye Xinghe had previously awakened a purple gold cauldron with a dragon pattern, which is difficult for us tribesmen alchemists to awaken. We have all heard of Ye Xinghe's name. Now that the young master needs to sell medicines, it will be convenient for them to establish a good relationship with the young master. Ye Xinghe was a little embarrassed. He even broke into a sweat. He replied to the old man that didn't he know that his soul was dead. The old man came close to the protagonist and replied that he knows. However, he thinks that the young master's potential is even better than before. Then the old man took our young master to Qingyang Yaozhai trading market. Also grabbing the guy by the collar, the old man asked him to meet again in Sangwu County, the largest city nearby. We resent the room, where the interlocutor holding his chin and making a thoughtful face concluded that it turns out the old man is an NPC guide. Then he put his hand on Ye Xinghe's shoulder and said that, "Young master, it seems that after the tasks in Danyang County are completed, you should go to Sangwu County." These words surprised the protagonist. Then our protagonist got up from the bed, and Zhang Tong bent down to the sick girl and told Ye Xinghe that first I would take Sierra to the hut temporarily built by his stupid uncle. Ye Xinghe was very surprised to hear these words. In the end, the guy added that the young master had said harsh words to Su Jianye's family for no reason. The Su family will definitely come to deal with him tonight, but let them go out first so as not to attract attention. Our protagonist asked the outgoing guy why he wanted him to wait for them here. He replied that it was not a danger to others. Next, our proto sat and cultivated. More than 30 beast cores had been absorbed by him, and the soul of the heavenly book had successfully ascended to the 3rd level of the human level. But suddenly something strange happened again. Our hero was once again sitting in the square in the Taoist palace. There was no fear in his eyes, and he supposed something might be happening now. But damn it! When he looked up, he was stunned. A huge yellow eye stood in front of him, staring at our proto. Our protagonist was immediately thrown into a sweat. He felt an extraordinary fear. He immediately stood up and drew his sword while saying, "Heavenly Book Soul, this is the monster from the Tower of Gods and Demons." Suddenly, a flying girl appeared behind his back and said the word, "Oops." She hung in the air and asked Ye Xinghe why he always wanted to fight. She asked him to lower his sword and explained to him that this eye was his second soul. With a surprised face, Proto questioned the girl. Was this really his second soul? She replied with a smile on her face that yes. As a master's devouring level increases, new life souls are awakened. He couldn't believe it. Could his life soul really not only be improved, but also awaken a new life soul? This was truly unbelievable. He had never felt such strength before. The girl was also happy about it. She said to Ye Xinghe, "Aren't they good?" After the conversation, the flying girl said that she would fly outside the Taoist palace to test his strength. At the end, she bid farewell to the master. Then our protagonist woke up in a different place. He was extremely surprised at what he saw in front of him. Turns out it was his space desk ability. He could see the house through the roof. His third eye opened. Is this really the ability of the new life soul? But then he turned his attention to something strange. He noticed something in his side vision. He looked at the woman's silhouette, which was clearly visible and visible due to the light of the full moon. After that, a girl with clearly not friendly intentions landed on the ground in front of him. She immediately reached for the sword that was on her belt. After pulling out the sword, she asked Proto, "Is he the master Ye Xinghe?" The protagonist didn't hesitate long before drawing his sword, anticipating the battle. He pointed his sword towards the girl and asked her, was she sent by Su's family to kill him? She replied that the young master was smart enough to have guessed who she was so quickly. After which, she immediately rushed at Ye Xinghe with shouts of, "I'll kill you right here." From such a violent impact, our protagonist crushed the ground beneath him. Still, he was able to hold back the girl's punch. At that moment, there was only one thought in his mind. What a powerful force this girl has. After that, the girl decided to attack the master with a leg kick, but she was unable to do any damage to the master because he blocked her kick with his hand. In response, he decided to hit her with his sword, but his attack didn't work either because the girl managed to jump back. After many futile attacks, they bounced in different directions to catch their breath and plan their next attacks. Our master was already very tired. He didn't think that fighting with the girl would take so much energy from him. He couldn't believe this woman was so strong. He had just used his heavenly eyes and soul to see through her body. Her development level was at least the 8th level, but he also saw that she was just a normal person being manipulated. The girl practically stabbed our protagonist at this point. Her blade stopped right in front of Ye Xinghei's eyes. He wasn't even frightened by it, as if he knew her next plan of action. They stood before the light of the moon, and none of them dared to move from their seats. The girl looked at him holding the blade in front of her eyes. She asked why he didn't dodge. He looked at the tip of the sword in front of his eyes, and replied that there was no murderous aura in it, which meant it was harmless. Ye Xinghei tried to move the blade away from his face, while saying that the girl's strength surpassed his. If she attacked seriously, he would already be a dead soul under her sword. But although she is ruthless in her actions, she leaves flaws in them. The protagonist keeps talking in her direction, and says that it doesn't look like she's committing murder. It looks like she's looking for death. To these words, the girl only remained silent. Suddenly she turned to him and replied that now that he had seen it, why didn't he take action? Then followed the answer of our hero. He replied that he knows the reasons for her desire for death and murder, so he can help to get out of this purgatory. These words caused the girl to stare at him with a strenuous look, her confidence in the protagonist clearly growing. He continued to talk to her and asked if there were 3 forbidden poisons injected by Shui Tan in her body. If you go against the owner's will, the poisonous insect will bite your dantian, rendering you unable to live or die. The girl was put off by such words and clearly sensed a catch, but that didn't stop her from asking Ye Xinghei how he knew this information. She asked the master if he was the man who had sent her here to test her loyalty. Ye Xinghei waved his hand in a casual manner and replied that she shouldn't worry. He definitely didn't belong to her master's inner circle. He could only see all the information about a person through his power. After that, he gently reaches out his hand, trying to take the girl's waist. He took her in his arms like a princess, and whispered to her that he just didn't want anyone to go through what his family went through again. This was all being watched by Zhang Tong, who was sitting in a tree. He looked at them and cried, wiping his snot with a handkerchief, a sight that pleased him very much. The picture is transported to the memories of Zhang Tong. He was really a poor kid. He was obviously very talented in improving himself, but he was captured by the most ruthless assassin organization in Danyang County, the Hall of Bloody Clothes. To control these captured children, Shui Tan planted 3 poisons on each of them. If it goes against the master's will, the insects will scratch and bite the pubes, making life worse than death. These children in bone-eating pain are gradually trained to become their puppet, their murder weapon. That's exactly what our Zhang Tong was. However, Zhang Tong failed an assassination mission at the age of 12, and only then was he freed from his so-called slavery. We see Zhang Tong lying on the ground near the entrance to Danyang, and someone who looks like Ye Xinghei coming out of an alleyway. Zhang Tong was without strength, but he was able to open his eyes when someone approached him. It was Ye Xinghei. He said hello to him and asked if he was alive. Zhang Tong continued to sit on the tree and remembered that even after Ye Xinghei found out that the one from the Blood Clothes Hall, he didn't hesitate to accept him. Although he calls him young master, he treats him as a brother. But somehow Zhang's mood changed, and he started talking about how he came to this world for a reason. There are also tasks to be accomplished. He looked at the house, and it was as if he was asking Ye Xinghei if he would blame him for what he would do. We go inside the house, where the young master was already standing by the bed where the girl he was fighting was lying. He asked if she was ready, to which the girl just hummed. He put his hand on her belly and warned her that it might hurt a little and would have to be tolerated. He put his fingers to his forehead and cast a spell, after which he opened his third eye ability. He began the process of scanning her body, his hand emitting a green pictogram. And then, finally, the green, horrible, poisonous worm showed itself to him. He would not, as would frighten our protagonist, this worm, and in truth very poisonous. He took off his shoes and got on the bed with the girl, saying he needed to go higher. He sat on top of her, explaining that this way it was easier to rid her of all the worms. The girl seemed to get excited, and Ye Xinghei asked her to get ready. The process of extracting the poisonous worm has begun. They were in a rather funny pose, and the girl asked if that worm was coming out of her. Proto said yes, a little bit of it was coming out. He put his fingers to his forehead again. Is the burden of the soul's new life so great on the body? His eyes could hardly see clearly. And finally, he got 3 worms. He put them on a needle so they wouldn't crawl away. But suddenly, our hero got bad. His face lost its sensible look and he started falling on the girl. After a couple of seconds, he collapsed on the bed to the lying girl, thus causing her embarrassment. She didn't even know what to do in such a situation as Ye Xinghei hugged her hips. She practically wanted to hurt him already somehow by calling him an idiot for actually wasting his energy on someone who just wanted to kill him. But she didn't do anything about it as she was grateful to him. The next morning, when he woke up, the guy realized that perhaps his current level of development was still unable to support the Heaven Eye Life soul, so last night he immediately fell asleep. When he woke up, the woman had left without saying goodbye, and if she was able to leave on her own, it means her body is fine. It's a pity he couldn't ask her about Shuyatan's whereabouts. However, when he came out of the house, he was unusually surprised, as the girl was standing in his yard. He was struck by her hair, which had changed color to blonde. She explained it must have happened because the tense nerves had finally relaxed and her hair was suddenly like this. She also said if our proto is wondering why she didn't leave, she just has no place in this world. She moved closer to him and asked him if he could announce to the outside world that she had died by his sword. That would allow her to erase the title of Ghost Snake. He was not relentless and rejected her offer, adding that she should just leave. At this time, Ye Xinghe was pondering that she stayed here to repay his kindness. But she had been bound by the 3 worms for so long and had finally found freedom. Could he trap her again? And the girl was thinking that maybe the guy was afraid that her identity as the assassin from the Hall of Bloody Clothes would be revealed and cause him trouble. Zhang Tong appeared from nowhere. He was hanging from a tree, and to him the sight was like a soap opera. Ye Xinghe asked him what he was doing here. The one came down from the tree and asked to be allowed to help. He started to say that there had never been a protagonist in this world without a shadow guard following him. If Ye Xinghe pretends to be cool and rejects her today, he will definitely regret it. The protagonist didn't even know what to say to such a suggestion. In the end, Zhang Tong was able to change Proto's mind to leave the girl behind. She immediately decided to show off her strongest secret skill that she had learned in the Hall of Bloody Clothes, a 6th grade yellow-level electric sword. The picture shifts to a bamboo grove. The main character asked Ghost Snake, which was the name of that girl, to take Uncle Yao and Sheer to a secret place and find shelter. And he in turn, to prepare for the upcoming family competition, took Zhang Tong with him. The guys arrived at the Lingyun sect, where Zhang Tong had already managed to attract attention. One of the sect members asked the top-ranked guy, who was this guy in black who dared to take on the mission to find the 7-star spirit Yuezhu. The second guy replied that Yuezhu was born in miasmas, and was surrounded by 6th-level body-tempering realm monsters to protect him. The third guy confirmed this as he too had heard that none of the 6 people who had taken on this mission had returned alive. Then a sect elder called Ling Yun showed up. He asked Ye Xinghe if he really wanted to take this task, because it was difficult, and for 7 months no one even dared to take it. He said yes, they want to try it. Elder replied that this is a pretty bold statement, after which, the elder wrapped his tongue around Ye Xinghe and Zhang Tong. They even suspected what would happen next. This toad decided to send them on a mission right now and threw them into the air. Only screams were heard from our heroes. As they flew, Zhang Tong vomited a lot, but Ye Xinghe held him by the collar, so the situation was under control. There they are being greeted by the Lingyun Mountains. Zhang Tong got very seasick on the road, and asked in Ye Xinghe why was his Lingyun sect still practicing physical teleportation. That one dissipated at such a statement, and apologized for not warning the elder that Zhang Tong had not yet perfected. He motioned for him to come over and wash his face. Zhang Tong was washing his face. Suddenly something in the water alerted him. A second later, a huge monster that towered to the heavens emerged from the water. But surprisingly, this monster did not scare Zhang Tong at all. On the contrary, he even turned to the young master and said that he wanted fried fish while pointing at the monster. The master heard Zhang and began to hack away at the monster. A moment later, Ye Xinghe was back on the riverbank slipping his sword back into its holster. Meanwhile, the monster was disintegrating into pieces right in the air. Zhang stood with a stick and said he was going to get firewood. But the main character told Zhang to get a good night's rest as they had a long journey tomorrow, and he would bring the firewood himself. Suddenly, Ye Xinghe saw with his side vision that danger was approaching. He rushed sideways towards Zhang, shouting for him to duck as someone fired an arrow in his direction. Zhang Tong manages to dodge the threat, after which the arrow flies straight at Ye Xinghe. Fortunately, he manages to draw his sword and thus deflect the arrow. Proto turned to Zhang, saying that it was good that his strength was being restored since he had managed to dodge so deftly. But Zhang Tong was lying on the ground with his face pressed into the ground. He explained that the sudden movement had caused him to twist his lower back again. He asked for help to get up quickly. But Ye Xinghe looked at him and pondered whether it was a coincidence or if it was intended that way. After which he asked one of his clanks to the side. Next, we see a young master helping Zhang Tong to the tree, explaining to him that if his body is so weak, he will probably send him back to the sect and continue on his way. But Zhang replies that it's okay, and a simple band-aid will help him. When Zhang was already sitting near the tree, he turned to the master, asking him if he was going to settle the score with the man who had attacked them. Pointing at the mercenary who was killed by his blade on the tree, Ye Xinghe interrogated whether it was about him. Zhang Tong couldn't believe his eyes. What a consummate warrior the young master was. Being impressed, Zhang clung to Ye Xinghe's leg while he tried to pull him away from her. That night, there was a thunderstorm. That didn't stop our heroes from braving their way through the mountains. The fact that the young master is dragging Zhang shouldn't make you uncomfortable. The insolent man even encouraged the master to run faster as the thunderstorm was hitting them harder and harder. Ye Xinghe was infuriated by such insolence and concluded that he really should have sent this coward back to the sect. It would have been much easier for him. Zhang replied, well, what can he do? The lower back injury still hadn't gone away, but suddenly his gaze focused on something. At the top of the cliff, he saw some man who was attracting lightning. His pupil reflected some old man. According to Zhang Tong, it's the heavenly development, the Thunder Bearer. Isn't this the #1 protagonist's most classic mentor? This is the deep mountains and old forests. The white-haired old man. He immediately began to strangle Ye Xinghe to stop. Ye Xinghe didn't understand what Zhang Tong was doing. He in turn pointed to the rock. He affirmatively said that that was where the master's master was. Ye Xinghe himself was puzzled. Well, friends, I don't know about you, but I enjoyed this manhua. The plot itself is quite interesting and intriguing. So if you liked the video, then subscribe to the channel and write a comment on what exactly you liked. And for a new part of this work, let's collect 1,000 likes under this video. All the best. See